Hi, I am Allison, a therapist with Mindful Healing, and today I'd like to talk to you about helping teens cope with self-harm. Now, self-harm is a serious matter and can lead to lifelong both physical and emotional damages. A lot of the teens we see here at Mindful Healing struggle with self-harm because they utilize it as a coping skill for either overwhelming, unpleasant, or lack of emotions. Now, it's important first to recognize where the urge of self-harm comes from. I often recommend to teens journaling when they have an urge to self-harm so they can help trace what triggering events, thoughts, or feelings lead to the urge to self-harm. Once we can pinpoint what exactly it is to trigger this behavior, then we can work on replacing it with a healthier coping skill. Sometimes when shifting from utilizing self-harm as a coping skill, we want to use something called harm reduction. Now, this can seem counterintuitive as it is doing sort of the same thing as self-harm, like providing a physical painful sensation, but it's actually moving away from using self-harm as a tactic because it can lead to such damages. I often recommend to teens either using a rubber band to snap on their wrist really hard to get that physical sensation to draw them away from their emotional pain, or holding an ice cube to their wrist to again get that physical sensation. For teens that kind of like to see the blood as that's part of the coping skill of self-harm, using a red marker to sort of simulate that instead of causing actual damage to the skin. Furthermore, coping skills can involve distress tolerance skills like tip skills or accept skills, which we talk further about in session on how to replace that coping skill by changing or altering the emotions associated with the urge to self-harm. For more information about replacing self-harm behaviors with healthier coping strategies and other teens for tips struggling with symptoms of depression, be sure to check out Mindful Healing's website.